I just want to start off by saying I'm sure this video is not going to be controversial in the slightest. I'm sure everyone will agree with what I have to say, and I'm sure that everyone will walk away from this completely satisfied with my ranking. Sarcasm out of the way, let's do this. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick at the Lost River Driving, and I am coming at you today to give you a ranking of arguably the 10 most popular horror franchises. Now, it's really hard to quantify these. Which ones are the most popular, most successful? What is the criteria you're using? Well, it's a mixture of both. For me, it's long-running franchises, ones that are still relevant in pop culture, highest grossing. The 10 that probably come to mind for most people, there are a few that didn't make it on here, and that doesn't mean that they're any less or greater than any of these franchises. I just handpicked 10 very popular ones, and I'm just going to do a franchise face-off, a showdown, a bro-down, whatever you want to call this, and we're going to get it right into it. So, coming in at number 10 is going to be Hellraiser. Now, let me say something about the Hellraiser franchise first and foremost. Never been my cup of tea. Never been my thing. The first 3 movies are pretty damn good. The 4th movie is okay. It really goes off the rails. It really goes off the rails after that point. I think most people that like the Hellraiser movies can agree that the first few films are really good films, very memorable, made Pinhead an icon. And then after that was just kind of like, oh man, the quality of these are really not great. So, having said that, it's not a bad franchise, hence why it's in the top 10. But I think it barely makes the top 10. So, Hellraiser's going to come in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Paranormal Activity. This one was hard for me. This one was probably put in more because of, highest grossing, most popular, and less of one of my personal favorites. So, again, the criteria for this list is weird, but whatever, let's just roll with it. Paranormal Activity is still relevant in the sense that a new movie just came out. It wasn't all that bad. Paranormal Activity Next of Kin. It's got some great movies in it. It really does. The first 3 movies are pretty damn good, with the third one probably being my favorite. It got a little long in the tooth as the franchise went on, which is something that we experience a lot with these types of franchises, so it's not to be unexpected. But overall, I think that the subpar to medium probably outweighs the great in this franchise, just like Hellraiser. So that's why this is going to come in at number 9 on the list. Coming in at number 8 is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And let me stop you really quick before you throw your tomatoes at me. All right? This is not to say that the first movie is the 8th best first movie out of all of these or anything like that. No, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original film, is probably better than most of the movies in these franchises after it. However, I think you would be lying to yourself if you tried to say that the franchise itself is more good than bad, or more that works than doesn't work. The first thing you have to think of is that every movie is pretty much a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. They cannot get this story to go on for more than 2 movies before they just reset again, or everything is a sequel to the original. There have not been creative enough writers and filmmakers yet to really flesh this out into a long-running story. Now, maybe part of that is just because it is a very simplistic story that doesn't need that. But regardless, that's one of the reasons. Another reason is, while I love part 1 and part 2, and I love the remake and the beginning, I do not care for part 3. I do not care for the next generation. I do not care for Leatherface. I do not care for 3D. So you've got 4 good ones, 4 bad ones, in my opinion, or 4 subpar ones. That's right in the middle. So I think putting TCM at 8 is very fair, considering that the contrast in quality is very stark in this franchise. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Saw, the Saw franchise. Yes, yes, yes. One that all of us know was a yearly Halloween tradition for damn near a decade. Is still around, though definitely not as popular as it once was. Saw is a series that I think the first 4 films are pretty damn phenomenal, all things considered. I think Saw through Saw 4 are all great movies. I have minor gripes, but I love them. Saw 5 is very mediocre to me. Very mediocre. Saw 6, really enjoy Saw 6. Saw the final chapter. It's fun at times, but it's not a good movie. Jigsaw, it sucks. It blows chunks. And Spiral, it's okay. So that's 5 great movies and 4 either bad or subpar movies. So again, the natural progression on this list makes sense. There's more good than bad in this franchise. I think the good definitely outshines the bad. Absolutely. Because the first 4 Saw films, especially the first 3, are just fantastic. So I'm going to go with Saw. Coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is going to be a new addition to most people's lists. It definitely has to be a part of the list just because of how popular it is and how successful it is, box office wise, critically, and that's The Conjuring. Now, this isn't including the entire universe of films. I'm literally just talking about the main line of films, The Conjuring, but the universe films, yes, they do count as well, I guess. And they've made, as a universe, over $2 billion, the highest grossing horror franchise of all time. So you got to put the Conjuring universe, or at least the mainline films, in a ranking like this. I go with it at number 6 simply because there aren't enough films to kind of overtake some of the top 5. Having said that, I think all 3 films are very good. The first 2 are phenomenal. The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 being in my top 10 horror movies of all time. And The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, very enjoyable, very well acted, great story, just not as effective, not as memorable. But I still think all 3 films are well above average when it comes to your typical horror movie. So I think The Conjuring has to come in on this list. It did not crack the top 5 simply because the top 5 is the top 5. That is a sacred place to be. But The Conjuring is going to come in at number 6. So here's where I'm sure I'm really going to start to lose some people. And you know what? That's fine. Because again, I will tell you guys, the criteria for this was based off of popularity, box office, things like that. It's not my 10 favorite. It's out of the 10 most popular, arguably. How would I rank them? So coming in at number 5, and like I should just say, this is top 5, okay? This is top 5. So even though this is number 5, this is literally top 5. But I digress. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Friday the 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th. And again, this is one of those series that I feel like the good outweighs the bad, but there are some glaringly bad entries. The first 4 movies are pretty freaking fantastic. I love all 4 of those movies. A New Beginning is fun. It is enjoyable. But no one could go to bat and say that A New Beginning is a truly magnificent movie. And if you do hold that opinion, that is totally fine. But it has its issues. Jason Lives is fantastic. And then The New Blood is okay. You get into Takes Manhattan, which is pretty subpar. Jason Goes to Hell, not a fan. Freddy vs. Jason, Jason X, the remake, It's like, for me, the first half of this franchise was really the strong suit of this franchise. There's 5 or 6 just truly bangers of movies. And then New Line and whatnot, it kind of just went down from there. Having said that, I know Jason is one of the big 3 and he's an icon and he is for a reason. And I love this franchise. I do. I wouldn't own all the movies in the franchise if I did not like it. But I feel like the next 4 to me, just personally, subjectively, are more important to me, are more enjoyable to me as a franchise as a whole. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Friday the 13th. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Child's Play. Yes, the Child's Play franchise comes in at number 4. And this is one that is pretty easy for me to be in the top 4. It almost made the top 3 because I've loved these movies since I was a kid. They were actually super important to me. Chucky freaked me out as a kid. So I just remember my childhood and watching these movies on AMC and just really, really being a fan, like just having a blast with the Child's Play movies. The first two are phenomenal movies. Child's Play 3 is pretty good. You know, it's pretty good. It's a damn solid movie. Bride of Chucky is pretty damn good. You know, I've been hot and cold on that throughout the years, but I think overall Bride of Chucky is a pretty damn good movie. Seed of Chucky, no. Curse of Chucky, fantastic. Cult of Chucky, no. But where does that leave you? Well, that leaves you with 4 or 5 really good movies out of 7. So I feel like, given that, oh my God, the remake. And the remake, yes, I love the remake. So that's 5, 6 great movies and only 2 subpar ones. So I just feel like this one, because of the nostalgia, because how important it was to me and how Chucky was one of the first horror icons I really got into as a child, I just feel like this has to be damn near the top. It's not quite top 3, but Child's Play is going to come in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we're in the top 3. Coming in at number 3 is going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street. This one was pretty easy for me. I went back and forth with my 2 and 3 a little bit. Actually, I would say my 2, 3, and 4. But I'm going to put this one at number 3 for now. Could very well change, weeks from now, months from now, who knows. I love this franchise. A big reason why I love this franchise is because how much I love the character Freddy Krueger. Not even just the portrayal by Robert Englund, because obviously that is fantastic, but I also enjoy Jackie Earle Haley's portrayal. I just love the character of Freddy Krueger and what can be done with that character. So I have to put this at number 3. I mean, if we're looking at the franchise as a whole, the first 3 movies I think are all great films. 4 is fun, has its flaws, but it's fun. 5 is 6 is no. New Nightmare is pretty damn good. Freddy vs. Jason, the remake, enjoyable to me, but I wouldn't say it's good. So overall, I feel like there's more good than bad in this franchise. There's more above average than below average, but it's really just Freddy Krueger and what that character does for me and has meant to me. So I've got to go with him and that franchise at number 3. The top 2 are the top, I'm not even going to get into it. You guys will see here in a minute. I'm sure all of you know already, but pretend like you don't, okay? Pretend like you don't. So Nightmare on Elm Street is going to come in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be the ghost face with the most face, Scream. Yes, Scream is going to come in at number 2. And there's a reason for this, guys. There's 5 movies, soon to be 6. Yay. There's 5 movies, and I feel like none of them are bad movies. I mean, I genuinely do not believe any of the Scream movies are bad movies. Scream 3 is the weakest to most people out of the bunch. And even then, it's really not bad. It's just, you could have done without it, but it doesn't hurt that it exists. It's not blasphemous to the franchise. It's a competently made, competently acted movie. And the other ones are just pretty much awesome. Scream and Scream 2 are freaking fantastic movies, like all-timers. Scream 3 is fun. It's enjoyable. Scream 4 is a little bit better than 3. It merits its existence. And Scream 5 is pretty damn good. It's probably the best since the second movie. So I just feel like overall, like the quality in this franchise is just, it really takes a dump on some other franchises when it comes to quality. There's only 5 movies, but man, all 5 movies they're pretty damn good movies. So, and just the fact that Sidney Prescott is my favorite final girl of all time and Roger L. Jackson's voice as Ghostface is so memorable. There's just so much about this series. I just could not live with myself if I didn't put it at number 2. So I'm going Scream as number 2. And as I'm sure nobody is surprised what my number 1 is, it's freaking Halloween. Halloween is the number 1 horror franchise to me, in my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying, personally, it's my favorite. Why is it my favorite? Well, I did a video a few days ago on what the franchise means to me, how I got into it, how I started to become a collector. It's just, it came at a very important time in my life. It struck chords with me that I felt, I felt like it really resonated with me. And it really spoke to me. Halloween is a series that I feel like the good absolutely outweighs the bad. And I think most horror fans would agree with that. I think most people will say the first 4 movies, really, are damn good horror movies. They really, really are. I love 5. but I know it's a black sheep, and rightfully so. I love 6. I also know it's a black sheep, and rightfully so. I'm not even a fan of H2O, and a lot of people love H2O. Resurrection, yeah, I think we all agree it sucks. Rob Zombie's Halloween, I'm not a big fan of. It's got its fans. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I love. And Halloween 2018 is okay. Halloween Kills is pretty good. I just feel like there's more great and good in here than, in my opinion, most of the other franchises. And that's why I have it at number 1. Yes, there's bias there, but I just feel like the quality is there too in most of the films. I just feel like this franchise is, being synonymous with the holiday and Michael Myers, just being directly tied to Halloween, the holiday, and October. And, you can't go around in October without seeing Halloween stuff at the store and seeing people dressed up as Michael and all this stuff, because it has become part of the time of year. And, we've accepted that and we've invited it, and it'll never change. Halloween will always be part of Halloween, and rightfully so. And I think it was a brilliant move by Irwin Yablans and John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and everyone involved to make this revolve around that day. So I love it. It's my number 1. And that's going to do it for the list. Out of the top 10 arguably most popular, how would I rank them? That's how I rank them. Now, there's one on here that wasn't on here that a lot of people might go, wow, how is this not on there? And that's going to be the Evil Dead franchise. And that's because, believe it or not, guys, it's really not that big in pop culture and in the public eye compared to the rest of these ones. I was surprised too, based off of box office numbers and critic reviews and stuff like that. It's really not one of the popular ones. If it would have been on this list, I would have put it in the top 5 because I love the Evil Dead franchise. But based off of the criteria that I was going with for this list, it didn't make it. But that is no shade on the Evil Dead's part. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. If you liked this video and you want to see more content, well, that's what you do. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure to leave a like on this video. Comment down below. Let me know how you would rank these 10 franchises if given these 10. And this is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In. And I'm pulling out.